Hi everyone, welcome to the Movieception Show. My name is Fariba, and tonight we're about to watch the season finale of House of Dragons Season 3. It's been quite a journey that we've had in the last couple of weeks, and I've been very open to saying that Season 3 has been such a huge improvement from Season 2. And I mean, again, that's saying the fact that, this is a pretty good show in general, but this season in particular has been a huge improvement. I think I keep saying that this season feels most like Game of Thrones, and the fact that we've got a good mix of the drama, the conflicts, the fight for the throne, of course, and not just that, but we've gotten plenty of action. I mean, just last week we've had a lot of dragon action, which I'm sure a lot of people were waiting after waiting so long. And I mean, of course, with this season alone, I think what really made this season really complete is that it actually is a whole setup to tonight's episode, which is, of course, the Battle of Tumbleton. That's something that I keep hearing about from a lot of experts. And now we're finally come to this point. Now we're going to see the consequences of that. I think there was even a trailer that basically confirmed that this is going to be the episode where we get to the Battle of Tumbleton. So, yeah, I think this has been quite a phenomenal, I wouldn't say phenomenal, but I would probably say that this has been quite an interesting journey for the last couple of weeks. I know we had a couple of times where I couldn't do reactions right away because it was a whole World Cup. Thankfully, that's already over, but now it's a matter of seeing how things will build up. I mean, of course, this whole season started off with Rhaenyra claiming the throne. Finally, of course, seeing the consequences for the Blacks and their Greens, and seeing how they're dealing with the whole after effects from, of course, the premiere episode. Then on top of that, not only do we have the current characters that we have here, but then a new villain that's come into play, which is Ormond Hightower, and again, leading up to the whole Tumbleton situation. So yeah, I mean, I'm very curious to see how things will conclude and how it will build up to this point. And yeah, so without further ado, because this is going to be the end of not only just this show, but we're kind of getting to the end of the series in general after tonight's episode. It's going to start the countdown for not just season 4, but basically the whole show in general, because if you guys don't remember, the plan was to make this a 4-season show, at least from what Ryan Condal has said. He's been very adamant that season 4 is going to be the last. So after tonight's episode, we're going to wait, of course, for season 4 to film, get ready to be all filmed out. Then after that, we're gonna have season 4, and of course after that, that's gonna be the end of the series. I mean, that we're already getting down to the end of this chapter of the Westerosi history, and I'm just very curious who will survive by the end of this episode, who will not. Again, I'm a little bit familiar with how things turn out. Again, I've not read the book, but I'm very I'm getting some of the details. So yeah, I don't want to delay any further. I want to watch this finale, so without further ado, let's get right down into watching the season finale of House of Dragons Season 3. It's gotta be about Tumbleton, I'm assuming.
He has risen.
Who?
Aegon! Sunfire is alive.
Out.
Yep. Okay. That was quick.
Sunflower is dead, rotting in a wasteland.
A mutant host at Rook's Rest. And then flew. I don't know where.
Oh yeah, that's really bad for her.
His supporters have already sent ravens throughout the realm. And his dragon have been resurrected to reclaim the throne.
Fuck.
At this moment, my known subjects gather outside the Grand Sept, beseeching the gods to say who is meant to rule them. Fucking Viserys! He put me here. His prophecy has tested me again and again, and I have met its every challenge.
Sir.
Natojas si ponte batulejot sinos. Darium ornebza. Inni. Khozal brot sinka gondaur.
Oh.
I do not wish your grandsire ill, but he made his choice, and we must now pay its price.
It was your fault
What?
that Lord Corlys was out there to be taken.
You do not dare.
It is how you've always treated those who serve you.
Sorties have yielded nothing, while my enemies have been allowed to muster their strength.
If a person is useful to you, you wield them. But if not, you abandon them, as you have with Raina. And now she is broken, like my grandsire.
I would have been justified in abandoning you after the gullet. Excellent child. Should not blame you for it, truly. Insolence runs in your blood. As your sister has lately reminded us.
You to speak to our Lord's desires.
His eldest living son.
Oh, you
named
kidding me?
successor. Your once and future Lord of the Tides.
That, all of it, is for you.
Yeah,
Remarkable,
sure.
is it not?
Sure.
Sir Darren the Daring.
That's awful.
And light the way.
Darren the Daring. That's awful. Oh,
And leading them to the slaughter
course,
will
Ulf.
be her uncle. No, her lover. No, her husband. Fucking dragon. But he's not going to use it.
And how do you know?
Because his lady wife, the Queen, won't let him. Rhaenyra's got Daemon on a short lead. Like a bitch in a kennel. We'll soon quake before the mighty and terrible Lord Ulf the White!
yeah, sure.
It has been arranged for both the mermaids' kiss. You are to sail for Pentos at dusk. I am to inform you that your services here are at an end.
Oh,
You have served the Queen and the realm most faithfully, and Her Grace wishes to extend her gratitude. You will be provided with gold sufficient for a manse and servants of your own. I do not understand either, my lady.
Do not trust the Queen. Aegon has returned. His dragon lives. Your unborn child is a hostage, a prize by which she can hold power over her enemies. She will never release you.
yikes.
Fret not. You're alive. Here, drink this.
The kinslayer, Alice. My own brother is dead. At my hand, I've been damned for my trespasses.
Is she gonna
and
inform
cursed
him?
to suffer.
She must have known. She must know.
Abandon me. Lest you bring mine own.
So she turned to older cures. She uncovered incantations more ancient than the land. She treated with things that lived in the forest.
Witchery, right?
But none of it. She tried to go with him.
Is she the lady?
Sharing in Harren's avarice, stripped of her name, her title, her castle, and sentenced to serve every halfpenny lord who came here to rule it.
That was 100 years past.
Oh, she's old.
To be alone.
Yeah, that's her, isn't it? She's the lady.
Pretending. All the things you care about are ugly. This place is ugly. You, yourself, ugly.
Eat,
Oh my god.
or you will force my hand.
Her Grace.
Why would you?
While our father awaits the High Tower gallows, Rhaenyra raises you up in his place. A glorious ascent for a bastard.
What in the world?
I have no ambition but to discharge my duty.
Oh, damn! Look at that outfit.
Take your places, boys. Keep coming. Take your places.
The
Keep
fuck?
coming. Be brave. Put
Child
the boys to the front.
soldiers.
They must be seen.
My lord, Ulf hasn't reported, and he's not with his dragon.
Men off each post. Search the town. Find him.
Something's wrong.
Yes. We're all going to die.
Quinn! Oh my god.
He and Roxton have some secret plot. I must take wing against the enemy.
No.
All these men, these boys, are here for me. Amongst all my countless dead, what are my choices? I either fight or I flee.
You should just flee. Uh-oh. We have a dragon coming.
Mayhaps there is another.
Dragon! Tumbleton, my lord! At long last!
If it weren't for Cole, we'd have been here a fortnight ago.
So easy to forget about him. Do tell me how he died.
Badly.
Of course he would ask. Badly.
My prince, my lord, a High Tower knight approaches.
So?
More meat on a butcher's knife.
Of course Stark
Can I
would say
kill
that.
him? You already know, Lord Corlys.
Are you well?
I'm well.
Let the Queen rule over the Crown lands, the North the Vale, all the lands watered by the Trident, and let Darren rule from Old Town.
Oh, please.
Peace. Two paths diverge before you, Daemon, but both lead to the same end. Rhaenyra sitting the Iron Throne, ruling the Seven Kingdoms. All that remains for you to decide is what you want from this war. Victory? Or a mountain of dead high towers?
What do you think?
You would callously cast away.
Oh.
No one will rule but Rhaenyra, the ordained queen of the Andals, of the first men, of beggars and thieves and cowards like you. And you, Valeria, will rise from the ashes of her usurper half-brothers
Lord have
and
mercy.
of the high towers of Old Town. Now, you came to me under the banner of... Corlys is my prisoner. Hightower may return to alert his cousin to our imminent coming.
Get up! Get up!
Bring the ladders in the run!
Oh my
Form up to
god!
march.
He's
The
just like
next
running
man's
like,
sword
oh
of
my
the
god.
attack will be tied to the front of my fucking horse!
Oh, that is Aegon and Sunfire.
You cannot be. You are dead.
Oh, oh, okay.
I'm alive! Imbecile.
Wait, he said it.
You kinslayer.
You usurper. You cunt!
Fuck you. Get up. We're going to Tumbleton.
My prince cannot. His dragon abandoned him.
Who's she?
My betrothed.
Oh my.
We're going to find Vhagar, fly to Tumbleton, and put Daron and that shitheel Ormond in line. And then we're all going to march on King's Landing under my banner.
Oh, so they want to kill their youngest brother. Okay.
Maybe
Okay.
when Rhaenyra's head is on a spike.
In gate, there's one other way in. Disused postern on the northeast side. They've raised wooden battlements, but the defenses are incomplete, so There are vulnerable
Man,
areas,
this Tully is
particularly
good.
the walls to the southeast.
Simple enough. I will burn the battlements over the main gate. But you are not to die until you open the gate.
Right, gate's open, then die.
Lord Oscar will lead the flank as planned. Sir Garibaldi has the reserve.
I have already told you that such is impossible. And now, after Aegon and his dragon have been resurrected, there could be no clearer sign of whom the gods have chosen to rule. Princess.
I am queen. Then you name yourself a traitor.
I am the High Septon of the Faith.
Of old Valyria. You wanted higher gods than his. To them, this house is an empty work of brick and stone.
We stand on sacred ground.
Oh, yikes.
Past this sacred charge to his chosen descendants, to the old King Jaehaerys, then to my father, then to me. The Hightower line cannot fulfill this prophecy. If your world is to survive, and the shield of the people, I am Rhaenyra the Chosen.
She called her Rhaenyra the Chosen.
Nike, Kivio dar laros ixan.
Oh. We can test a little bit of that. Contest? Just start banners. Totally banners.
I don't want the best of you, I want the worst!
Blades out! Bellies in! Get your fucking out eyes! You boy touching cunts!
Oh. And the game has begun.
You don't say.
Yes, my lord. It appears Daemon Targaryen did not accept King Daeron's terms.
Oh no, they don't know. They don't know. They don't know.
Speak! King, he freed the sea snake, my lord, as part of the bargain.
Continue the search.
Oh, Gwen is in
Find
trouble.
Alf the Dragon Rider.
Oh, is that acid? Oh, those are some strong Starks.
Like the treasure!
Dragon.
Begging pardon, Your Grace. He is not with his dragon.
Love it when ladies know how to actually fight.
Take them. Draw sword! Kill on! Center! Form on me! Galaxies!
Caraxes going to battle, guys. Caraxes going to battle. Oh no. Wow.
As the gates open now, lads. We're still fucking alive! Climbing up, my king. Go now! I want Lord Hightower. Get him out! Get out! Sit on your fucking dragon! They're inside the walls! You useless, base-born scum! You may have cost us everything. Do as you've been told.
Oh, now you realize they're both in the same point, huh? I think I know who that is. Yeah.
Do not die for Ormond's vanity. My boy. My boy, please. Please!
I don't like this. This is troubling me. Fuck. Oh, he's bleeding.
It's a proper fucking by the nose.
Oh, he probably sees one. Oh.
Fuck you too.
No.
Oh. Oh, he's going unhinged. Oh. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, this is bringing back memories. Oh no. Oh, do we remember? Oh, Game of Thrones. Do we remember those bells? Yes. Okay, well, he's definitely dead. She's in the bird. So there's really a lot to digest from this episode because, wow. I mean, in one sense, I think this episode really just shows a lot in terms of looking to the viewpoint of wars and battles and just what it really means. There's really a lot to dissect. I mean, there's just a lot. But I'm gonna say this before we even get down to like the actual Battle of Tumbleton. Let's talk about the episode itself, because I'm not gonna lie, I was getting a little bit worried for a minute that we were about to have this whole season 3 finale and that we were not going to get the actual battle. Like, it seemed as though that was almost kind of I was almost kind of getting like the memories of what happened in season 2 finale, where it almost seemed as though that this was going to end like building up to the battle, and then we wouldn't actually have the actual battle until like the next, season, so season 4. In the same way that happened with season 2 finale, where we didn't really have any battle, was building up to it, and then we didn't actually have the battle get like till like the season 3 premiere. So I almost got worried that we're about to have the same situation here. Thankfully that was not the case. We actually had the battle, thankfully. It just took a little bit of time to kind of build up to it. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I wish it could have been a longer battle just to kind of see a little bit more of, because from what I recall, there's supposed to be like 2 parts to this battle. And I think a lot of people had clocked that was gonna be, I think both battles are going to be that both battles were going to be combined into one in this season finale. So, and we'll talk a little bit more again about the battle. So let's just talk about just the build up to what was going on. And I think the fact of the matter that the Aegon situation where he has survived has spread like a wildfire, no pun intended. But I'm not gonna lie, I think the moment that news spread, that was probably when I sensed that, oh, this is it. Like, she's completely going to the dark side. Rhaenyra's gonna completely go to the dark side. And I think from a whole couple of seasons where we have been rooting for Rhaenyra, like I was just like, oh, okay, it's great to have, a queen for once and all that sort of stuff. And, she technically was she was anointed as the heir to the Iron Throne by Viserys, and of course we as audiences know that the whole situation with Alicent and her putting Aegon in, like, that seemed to be more of a miscommunication and all that. And then I think that's like a whole, and I mean, we can attest to the fact that had Viserys had not created this rift with this family from the beginning, that we would not have this civil war to begin with, that perhaps Rhaenyra would have actually had a far more peaceful transition into becoming the next heir. And instead, everything that has transpired has been a war between two sides of a house, and because of that, we've been seeing nothing but destruction and casualties and the consequences, and people just kind of being, oh man, I'm trying to remember from the top of my head, basically kind of collateral damage. There you go. They're basically collateral damage to what's been happening in the Civil War, because at the end of the day, this is an issue between one side of the family that happens to have a little bit more of the Hightower side, and then of course then there's Rhaenyra and Daemon that represents more of like the pure side of the Targaryens, and so and everyone else is just collateral damage. And what we're seeing, and I think this is an episode that really tests to the fact that this is what this whole war has become. I mean, this is like the meaning what this war has become. 2 people, 2 sides of the house being super greedy about trying to get power, trying to be, taking control of a whole, 7 kingdoms. And here it is that we were seeing kind of how everyone is now just, are just pawns in a chessboard, right? They're like pieces of chessboard, and that's what we're seeing here. And I mean, as I said, like, I think for the most part, I think when you look in the philosophy sense, you would want to side with the group, with the blacks, not the greens, the blacks, because of the fact that, yes, because technically speaking, Viserys' actual true vision was to have Rhaenyra in the Iron Throne, and from the beginning, we knew that Otto Hightower has been conspiring to take away that power from the Targaryens and make it so that his side of the family slowly builds up and comes, like, the true heir, becomes the next family to take over and control the 7 kingdoms. And we saw bits of that here as well. I mean, we even saw Ormond Hightower trying to do the same shit that his brother has been doing, which is to then, in a sense, create another side of a war to put his nephew onto the throne, but technically it's going to be him who actually makes all the decisions and has all the power, that he's going to be kind of there's words to it, but I can't from the top of my head, but basically he would actually be the real ruler of the 7 kingdoms, and Daeron will just kind of be the figure of that. And that's what was being done here, right? I think, and again, this whole season has been building up to that, has been building up to the point where, there's this whole conflict with Ormond, the fact that there's Daeron, the fact that he's using his name to pledge a whole, one side of a king who can maybe take over. And then, of course, we have Aemon just on their whole situation on the side, but just going back to the black situation, I think there's a reason why when we are looking at Rhaenyra, like, you would think that, okay, all of this is happening because there was honesty to the fact that she should have been the ruler. And I think, the more that you see what has been hitting her, the challenges, the tribulations, the trials, etc. I mean, we even saw her here in the beginning of this episode where she's like, I'm literally being tested and I've been trying to prove myself. Like, what more does the gods want? What more does any kind of entity wants? Like, she's doing what she's been fighting for. And of course, with the whole news that Aegon had not only survived, but now that Sunfire also has survived, and that there's now this whole rumor that they're trying to play that, oh, he's been resurrected. Of course, at that point, I think we got the sense that I think she's totally turned to the dark. So in the same vein, mind you, in the same vein that we saw with Daenerys, again, not, of course, the circumstances are a little bit more different, but we're seeing a little bit of like this parallelisms, and it's like, okay, like, it's going to be very interesting going into season 4 because, now it's gotten to a point where she's going to be quite unhinged. She's going to be into the dark side. The fact that so many people continue to question her reign because she is a woman. And because of that, this is all that's happening. That's all that's been transpiring. And as a result, we're probably going to see the rest of so probably when we get into season 4, we're going to see the dark side of her, and probably like where, like, I think I've heard, like, I think from what I've read, like, she eventually becomes Rhaenyra the Cruel. So we'll probably see that side of her manifesting once we get to season 4. And it looks as though, again, I'm a little bit, as I said, I've not read the whole book, but I'm a little bit aware of some details. It seems so that her faith may be happening just by looking at Helena's quilt that she knitted, and it looks as though that they are going to basically follow with the books with what her fate will eventually become. And so yeah, it really sucks because it's like you kind of rooting for it, and you understand what she's going through, the troubles, and how she's really trying to be the champion of the people. And then because there's so many people, there's so many entities, and there's so many naysayers who've been like, yeah, you should not be the queen because you're a woman, all that sort of stuff. She's now having to go and switch totally to the dark side, which is unfortunate. That's what we see right here in the end of this episode, that she has now fully turn to the dark side, which is so funny because then we see Daemon kind of being the total opposite, where I think he's now starting to really realize how catastrophic this whole war has become, this whole civil war has become, and he might actually realize for a sense that maybe for once his approach to violence and darkness and aggression may not be the way. And I'm very curious about that when we go into season 4. And again, we'll talk a little bit more about Battle of Tumbleton, but that's just something I want to bring up now because I think, as we are looking into this episode, and now that season 3 has concluded, that means that season 4, as I've said before, that's the end of the run. Like, season 4 is where we're going to start wrapping up all these arcs, all these stories, all these subplots, the main plot, everything, right? And now we're seeing kind of how everyone has changed, where the tides are turning. Really, I mean, here's the thing. We saw a lot of deaths. We're seeing a lot of characters who are going to make it through. I think we were all wondering who was going to make it. Will Daemon make it? Will Aemon make it? It looks as though that Aegon and Aemon will continue to be key characters going into the next season. Mysaria survived from the looks of it, so she's going to be a key character going to next season. Corlys survived, so he's going to go be the main character going to next season. Ulf, Hammer, Daemon, Joffrey, the two sisters, Bela and Rhaena. So we have some key characters that has been around for quite some time who will continue into the final season, and it looks as though that if there's going to be any more of these major battles between the household members, it's going to be left into season 4. So, and yeah, I think that kind of sums it up. I think, well, let's talk about Aegon and Aemon for a little bit, just because and just most of the Greens in general. Let's talk about them before going to Battle Tumbleton, just because, you know, the rumors start spread that, you know, at first Aegon was dead, now he's not. Now we're also seeing kind of a different version of Aemon, as if he's kind of accepted that maybe his approach in the past may not have been the way, and the fact that he was actually kind of, you know, not only was he not as intimidated, but the fact that he was kind of accepting of the fact that Aegon wanted to kind of off him. That was a really interesting arc right there. It seems so that this might be, in a sense, hinting that there could be some kind of reconciliation between Aegon and Aemon, and that will build into season 4 as well. And again, these are two characters that will eventually become key figures going into this final season, because they're gonna eventually face off against Rhaenyra and Daemon. Rhaenyra and Daemon. And so it makes sense why they've survived, because, and why they had to at least, you know, at least put a ceasefire. No, I wouldn't even say ceasefire. I would probably say at least putting a pause to their brotherly rivalry, because they have a much bigger conflict to deal with, which is of course Rhaenyra and Daemon. So now that, again, that seems to be going into season 4, and I think that witch Alice, I believe she may have just confirmed that she is at least a 400-year-old witch, which I'm sure a lot of people were predicting. From what I read, a lot of people had figured that was the case, even from the books. And I mean, from how she was narrating about the Harren, the boy, the family member that once had, you know, control of Harrenhal. And of course, for those who don't know, Harrenhal is known to be one of the most cursed forts in Westeros. I'm not exactly sure about the history. That's maybe something I might have to do some research on, but the fact that she does mention, and it seems to imply that she was there when the original family was there before, what was it, Balerion? Yes, basically the King's Conquest, right? Which, by the way, the movie seems to be happening, so at least not until beyond 2027. That was coming from the investors meeting, so it looks as though that we will have the Aegon's Conquest happening soon, and she seems to have explain a little bit about that. And so, yeah, there's a lot of characters who survived, surprisingly, but I think it was very clear this episode was going to be very focused on the Battle of Tumbleton, and perhaps the Battle of Tumbleton is going to be the key part of unlocking what's going to happen in season 4, the consequences, the fallouts, the downfalls, everything, right? So, but yeah, I will say, I think overall, just looking at this episode, everything that led to it was built up to it. Maybe there are areas where perhaps it could have been a little bit more developed. Like, of course, the whole Aegon thing and Aemon thing. Like, we only saw them so few times this season. I don't even. I think there were even episodes we haven't even seen Aemon in the whole episode, just because he was, of course, recovering. So perhaps maybe if we've seen a little bit more of them, seeing how they could have done a little bit more in terms of their arcs, perhaps it could have led to a much more juicier season. I think just looking at this season in general, it's clear that the showrunners, the writers, particularly wanted to build up to the Battle of Tumbleton, because that's the main conflict that's happening. And I think that part of the arc is what was maybe the strongest aspect of the season, because I think every time that we saw, oh, Ormond's doing this, Ormond's doing that, oh, every time we're hearing Rhaenyra and she's talking about Tumbleton, oh, every time that everything was leading to Tumbleton. And I think so far, from what I can attest to, and maybe I could be, I might require some reevaluation if I were to rewatch it again, but I will say, at least if there's one strong aspect of this season, is the fact that they were building up to the Battle of Tumbleton. So building that conflict with Ormond Hightower, introducing us to characters like Daeron and Ormond, how other characters are a key part of it. So there's Hugh, there's Olv, And then, of course, then circling back to Rhaenyra and Daemon, because they know that that's kind of their key problem. And then again, not the strongest season. Of course, there are different subplots that could have been a little bit more polished, a little bit more fleshed out. Because, as we mentioned before, the Netzel story, that was completely removed from this season, even though that was a key part of the book. Instead of doing that, I think Ryan Condon, the writers, decided to change that up and make it Rhaena. That, yeah, there were parts of the subplots that weren't as strong, weren't as thoroughly polished in the way that it could have been. So yeah, it's not the most perfect season. And even though I keep saying that, oh, season 3 feels most like, a Game of Thrones season, because it does have so much drama, it does have so much dialogue. It feels like so that there's a focus, there's a build up to, it's leading up to something, right? It's leading up to something, which it does do that. I think overall, because of that, this is maybe one more stronger season. I think at least a lot better than season 2, simply because of the fact that, the main arc, the big story was at least done in a satisfying way, or at least it had the proper build up. But it does also have its flaws, because whereas Game of Thrones, it did such a really great job of giving each subplot a really great focus, giving enough drama, dialogue. There are some misses here with season 3 where it doesn't really reach those levels. So, and again, this is a really great season. As I said, that's not to downplay the fact that this season hasn't been great. It's been great. And I think, and we'll talk about Tumbleton in a second, but I want to at least kind of give my overview for a little bit about season 3, just because, yeah, there are certain story arcs that I was kind of like, whatever. But then when we do kind of get to the whole Tumbleton situation, I was like, okay, we're building up to something. So, yeah, I'm not going to wait longer. Let's get right into build up Tumbleton. I mean, let's just say the build up to that, just going into this episode alone, I mean, wow, like I was honestly just kind of like holding my breath once we started to get to the part where the Starks were starting to begin the battle. Like I'm like literally like touching my nails, trying to like caress my nails, and just like, oh, okay, what's gonna happen? Like, how blooded is this battle gonna be? How violent it's gonna be? What's gonna be the consequence? How is it going to end? Yeah, I was getting, I think the moment that it started to begin, I think my stress level was going up. And I think the more that we started to see everything around, I mean, the fact that the kids were being used as shield, I mean, what the hell? I mean, wow. I was just like, oh my god. Like, I just hope that maybe that, this battle, it would just mostly be against the High Towers, and that the people, the civilians, would somehow make it through. And of course, that doesn't seem to be the case here. And I mean, we just see everything that's unleashing, right? I mean, first off, Clegane, is it Clegane or Clegane? The Stark. The Stark. I mean, wow, he's just so fun to watch. Just how he's kind of like, I am ready for this battle. And every time he has any kind of moves, I was just like, whew. Like, wow, like, these is so much energy, which is it's like a really interesting thing, because for me, I consider, an honor, like, when I'm thinking about Starks, I'm thinking about their honor, like in the way that we saw with Ned Stark. And we see someone who's like a complete contrast of Ned Stark. Jon Snow, of course, as well, because he's, of course, a Stark. So, like, these two characters have shown honor. And then you have this guy who was like, I just want to fight and unalive so many High Towers. It's just like, what? It's like, what in the world? So yeah, whoever played him did such a great job. I think he was really fun this whole season. It's unfortunate that he did not make it through, but can we just say, I did not anticipate that he was going to stab Ormond Hightower in the ass. I was like, what are we watching? I was like, which is like so funny and ironic in so many ways, because like we saw like Ormond and how he's like very posh, how he's, he does show himself as very entitled. We've seen how he does not want to be anywhere near low-born people because of how they smell. Like, he has no respect for the common folk, and the fact that he gets stopped in the ass, I was like, oh my god. It's like, in a sense, that's kind of poetic. And so I've got to say, I think the way that all that unraveled was very fulfilling in certain ways. It was done properly. I think, I will say this with this battle and with everything that's gone off, and I think the fact that we did see Ulf not only betray the Targaryens, but also he basically, I guess you can say, it was like a triple agency in a way. Like he also, like, he's basically kind of the third party. And so not only did he unalive so many Targaryens, but he's also basically destroyed Tumbleton and the civilians. And I think that alone was maybe was maybe the worst part about it, just because this guy was just like, fuck both sides. And I think it makes sense because he's starting to realize that, they're both taking advantage of him, and therefore he's kind of like giving the middle finger to both sides. What's unfortunate is that he decided to use his anger against both sides to then, go off against the common folk. I wonder how that's going to lead up into season 4, because I'm sure he's going to be alive. I don't I'm very curious what happened right at the end right there, because he had, I think Caraxes was trying to, if I recall, I think he's trying to get Ulf's attention or Vermitor's attention. And I think he's trying to get him somewhere. So I'm very confused about that part. I'm assuming that Daemon has gotten control of Ulf and is trying to get him back to King's Landing to understand what's happened. And of course, the betrayal part, I think that's going to be very clear. But then what the actions that he's done in the Battle of Tumbleton. So we'll see about that. And again, I think I mentioned before, this was supposed to be a 2-part battle, and I might have to look this up. And I don't know if they actually did combine both parts of the battle into this episode, or maybe there's still a part of something that's still happening. So we'll see about that, and just maybe, again, we probably won't know until I probably would have to first do my research, and then if there isn't any clarity, then maybe it is something that might continue into season 4. But it's clear that what happened here in this battle is going to carry on into season 4, and it's going to really hurt Rhaenyra's image in so many ways, because the whole idea was that we were supposed to spare all the people in Tumbleton because they were just collateral damage, right? And now with what Alf did with basically burning just about a good chunk of Tumbleton, and the fact that so many civilians are injured or have passed, it's just so unfortunate. That was not what Rhaenyra wanted, I'm sure. That's not what Daemon wanted, I'm sure. Yeah, so yeah, I don't know what to say about that. Can we also just talk about the Daemon thing? Because when we are watching some of the visuals with Daemon and how he's seeing the aftermath of what Ulf did with burning just about half of, or maybe even more than half of Tumbleton, it was giving me memories of the bells. Remember, guys, Game of Thrones, the bells, where Daenerys goes into King's Landing. She's trying to take siege of it. And then if you guys remember that visual of Arya, how she's coming from the ashes and seeing the aftermath of what's happened in King's Landing, seeing the dust, right? And it's so interesting because I don't know if it happened in this show or not. I can't remember who said it, but there was always that argument of, do you want to be the ruler of the 7 kingdoms, or do you want to be ruler of dust, right? And watching that visual, it's you're seeing how someone is wanting so much power and control, and yet because of the conflict that's been happening around, because of the battles, because of the conflict, the people are the ones who are getting collateral damage, and because of that, there are no people there. It's just dust and debris and broken buildings. And I think just the way that Daemon was just watching and observing what he saw in Tumbleton, the aftermath of what, again, what Ulf had done, that whole visual was reminding me of Arya, right? Where she's also kind of observing what's happening with King's Landing, the fall of it, the result of a dragon, just a dragon, right? Dragon by Daenerys, and what she's done to burn King's Landing. The way that I'm watching Daemon is the same thing I saw with Arya. I was like, whoa, this is giving me memories of the bells. That was what what was getting. And just watching Daemon's horror, because you can tell from his face that he's horrified. He's horrified with what has happened, which again makes me wonder if he's gonna start reconsidering his actions, his belief in what's been going on, his campaign. I think that's the best way to say it, his campaign for what is basically for Rhaenyra to claim her throne. I'm very curious about that. I wonder if we're gonna see a different side of Daemon, because this is a guy that we've seen is very violent, very aggressive. He's always about power and control, and if anyone decides to disturb that balance, that he's gonna be oh, then the only way to resolve this is with war, with swords, everything, dragons, right? And now it's like, is this going to change him? That's going to be some curiosity going into season 4. I'm sure this is going to create a lot more conflict now, because in one sense we see Daemon, who might actually be seeing the light of the consequences of this, and then you have Rhaenyra, who's like about to go full freaking Darth Vader on on the Westeros. So yeah, so we have that. And even before that, can we just say, I'm glad that Corlys survived, because I was really concerned for him for a bit, because I was like, okay, well, he's been captured by the High Towers. Oh, then here's this whole deal that they're trying to do between Gwaine and Daemon, and of course that didn't work out. And this is kind of where I also wish Daemon. It's like, you wonder who could have been a different person in that position. It's like, okay, there was finally a way to find some peace and prevent this battle. By the way, prevent this battle. And I think this is worth mentioning too, because this could have prevented the battle if they just done the switch, and if they had just listened to Corlys, just done that, allow Darren to just take, just be the lord of Old Town, and allowed that sort of peace, and before we wouldn't have to go into this battle. If they had just listened to Corlys's suggestion, perhaps we would not have had this battle, right? We would not have this battle. And instead, Daemon decided that, oh no, I'm just gonna be the Daemon version of myself, and we're just gonna go into war because that's just how I am, right? He's always been like that. So, and I wonder if he's starting to have those regrets. I'm gonna wonder if there's gonna be some regrets with that. I wonder if there's gonna be some regrets with that, because Corlys had a way to stop this, and he completely ignored him. Of course, again, Corlys survived. I'm sure Corlys is gonna, I don't even know what's gonna happen with him, because he would have been, he's still technically hand, but now is Rhaenyra gonna even listen to him at this point? Like, I don't know. There's so many questions going to season 4, because there's just so many question marks. I'm glad that we did kind of leave off in a cliffhanger, of course, one that's been an adrenaline fueled cliffhanger, because I'm just kind of like, okay, we just ended off with a battle. Like, we're gonna have to wait at least probably 2 years until season 4 comes out, and that season 4 is gonna be the final. Like, we're gonna see the last 8 episodes of this whole conflict. Of course, some of which I already know what's gonna happen. It's part of this with the extinction of dragons for a long time, right? Because eventually, we remember in 9 of 7 Kingdoms, they don't even have any dragons in there. Dragons did not exist by that point. And so, yeah, like, I mean, I think the way that, again, I have to say, I have to give props to how this episode was set up, building up to it, resolving some of the more dramatic stuff, like Aegon and Aemon, Helena, which, unfortunate, it's just like, I feel like we all kind of had a sense that she was getting really, really depressed, and it was getting to a point where she was going to lose her life in a way that she couldn't bear any more of the pain anymore. I think that was leading up to that, which is, again, so unfortunate, and I wonder what's gonna happen to Moon Dancer, or I think I already know what's gonna happen to Moon Dancer now I'm thinking about it, but and not only that, but how Alicent's gonna react to this. How is she gonna react? She doesn't even know yet about Helena, right? She thinks Aemon is dead, because he's been poisoned. Thinks Aegon is dead. Helena is officially gone. And then, of course, we don't even know what happened to Daeron, right? Gwaine is trying to look for Daeron, which, by the way, can I just say, I think Gwaine is starting to become one of the most interesting characters. Like, I think he's starting to become one of my favorites, even though he is Team Green. He is technically Team Green. I have to say, like, I've really been liking Gwaine, because he seems to be the guy of reason, someone who's really trying to think about the people, and trying to find some kind of resolution with so little damage. And yeah, I'm glad he survived, by the way. I'm glad that he survived. Questions about Daeron, like, where is he? Where is Tessarion, right? I'm sure he took Tessarion somewhere. We don't know where Daeron is. So another big question mark, where is Daeron? I mean, we know that Aegon and Aemon are gonna go and try and knock out Daeron, their youngest brother, which is kind of like, he's your brother, someone who you've never really met, and now you feel threatened by him, even though that had nothing to do with him. Which, by the way, I've got to mention, just the part where Aegon is like, I'm alive. I swear, Aegon has become just a comic relief in this show out of nowhere. But I can't remember the actor's name, but he does such a great job playing Aegon, and I think that has been a big part of why Aegon has been at least an interesting character here and there. But yeah, what a tough way. I appreciate how they set this up, getting all the dramatic stuff out of the way and then making the second half just focus on the battle. I think that was maybe the right approach to organizing this episode. A little bit about the whole Rhaenyra thing, of course, where she's talking to the people and how she's saying that she's a prince who was promised. I was like, oh, okay, that's an interesting situation, right? Because we know as audiences that the whole situation with the White Walkers doesn't happen for another couple hundred years, right? And so like yeah, like I have so many mixed feelings about what's happening with the characters in general, and now I'm just kind of like, do I even want to support you anymore, Rhaenyra? Because now it looks as though you're going full Darth Vader. And then it's like, who do I even root for at this point? Because just about everybody, you know how, I don't know if you guys, like, I watch a lot of these like videos where it's like, are you the ass, are you an a-hole, whatnot, and then there are certain cases where, everyone's the asshole, right? And I think right now everyone's the asshole, everyone sucks. Because like, it's like, is there any redeemable character left? Because Helena is now, she's passed. Then, and I guess you got the kids, but I don't think the kids are gonna have any big part in this. Maybe perhaps characters like Corlys or Alan or even Bela Arena, who knows? But it's like, is there any character who has any redeemable factors at this point? Because Rhaenyra, who could have been at least that one version, she's no longer that person anymore. So yeah, but overall, what an episode, by the way. I think this whole season has been pretty good. It's been great. It has been a great episode. 8 episodes for season 3, and honestly, overall, just looking at it, yeah, it's not the most perfect season. Still doesn't really reach the levels and the details and the prestige of at least the first 5 seasons of Game of Thrones, right? I mean, 8, yeah, we don't talk about 8. We don't talk about 8. But overall, this is a great episode. This is a great season overall. I think it was maybe perhaps the most organized that we've seen in a long time. And I think it, in a sense, makes up for a lot of disappointments with the season 2. But now it's like, okay, we're now down to the 8 episodes. How are we going to conclude this? Because, like, 8 episodes does not sound like a lot. But who knows? We'll see. But, yeah, I think that's all I have to say about House of Dragon season 3 finale. We've just got it. The show is now going to go into another hiatus to build up into season 4. And now there's questions going to season 4, right? How is this going to end? So, I don't know your thoughts having seen tonight's episode. What do you think about the battle overall? What are your thoughts? Again, I was getting a lot of deja vu from the Bells episode, especially when we start to see Daemon, but I want to know your thoughts. Do you think it was satisfactory for those who have actually read Fire and Blood? Like, did this meet your expectations, or would you have wanted the 2 parts of the Battle of Tumbleton? Are there parts that maybe you've clocked that were a few changes? I think Daemon wasn't supposed to be in this episode. That's already one key change. But aside from that, anything else that may have stood out? With regards to the parts before, what do you think? We've seen Aegon and Aemon are kind of teaming up again. Allison doesn't know about Helena as of yet. We see Rhaenyra is now turning into whole Anakin Skywalker with Darth Vader. What do you think about that? Like, does that change your perspective now about this whole conflict? Are you changing your side? Are you going from black to greens? Or at this point, do you just feel like you just don't want to have any loyalty to any party? What do you think about Daemon? Because we saw how Daemon looked and observed Tumbleton. Like, is this going to change him? Or it's just going to do so little with regards to everything that's happening? With what has happened, and beyond that, what do you think about season 3's overall? I want to know your thoughts, just because it is quite a lot. It's quite different, but again, for me, I say it feels like Game of Thrones. But I want to know your thoughts about the overall gist of the season. Did you like the writing a lot better? Do you think this is a lot better than season 2? How do you compare that to the past seasons? And then, of course, what are your predictions going to season 4? What could change for the books? What could happen next? I want your thoughts. Let me know in your comments down below, and make sure to like and subscribe.